Hi everybody, this is SPRWF from MyChartCoach.com. In this video, we're taking a look at the marijuana sector. So first up is ticker symbol MJ. This is the Alternative Harvest ETF. As you can see here, it's been filling the jar back to this 3850, 3870 resistance zone. That was the high close from back in January. It formed a double bottom pattern, and it's been riding EMA4 at 3392 support higher. You need to break above this 3550 resistance zone. So really nice move for the marijuana sector, pushing super hard. If you look at HMLSF here, this is the Horizons Marijuana Life Science Index ETF. This is the covers the Canadian cannabis stocks. This is a weekly chart, so each candle represents 1 week of trading, and so this is working its way back up to this high close back here around this 1850 level, and so this is going to be the big level to break. You want to see it close above this 1850 resistance zone and turn it into support when it is tested. So yeah, so it came down here and made this multiple bottom and pushed higher. So the marijuana sector is looking strong. It just needs to keep riding support and break through 1850 there. Okay, let's look at CGC. This is Canopy Growth. A really big move in after hours trading at 53.95. So that's incredible. What a move. Yeah, it's been riding EMA4 support, the pink line. As long as that level is holding currently at 47.96, the signal is to keep riding. Okay, now that it's pushing above the upper Bollinger Band, if it does pull back to that level and it holds, that's a signal that the uptrend's still strong. Now, if it were to close below, that's where you could see some consolidation. Look at the big volume, huge volume behind this move. So this has been an incredible move for CGC. If you look here, you can see that strong move above EMA's 4 and 8. Once it gets a close down here below EMA 8 at 45.26, that's where you could really see it start to consolidate. As long as these levels are holding, the bulls are clearly in control. Okay, let's look at Canopy Growth here on the 15-minute chart. You can see here it came down here, it formed this symmetrical triangle pattern, and then it broke above resistance. It ended up breaking above this 46.50 level, and then it got over here and broke above this 47.50 level, and it's just been pushing higher. Now, once you see it close below EMA4, currently at 51.57, that would be a change in trend from the pattern from today, and you could see it work its way down to that middle Bollinger Band. As long as that's holding currently at 50, the uptrend's still intact. If it closes below, that's where you can see it start to consolidate, possibly come back down to test that 48 level. Okay, let's look at CRON. Another big move here. Big follow through after the bounce on Friday, after it ended up filling both of the gaps. The first gap here filled on Thursday with this red candle, and then the second gap down here filled on Friday. The gap fill here on Friday was the catalyst for the bounce, so keep that in mind. Many times a downward gap fill will create a technical bounce, and that's what happened here. And then there was big follow through today. It's back above EMA4. Now the thing is, there's a gap between high of day on Friday and low of day today. So on a pullback, that gap could possibly fill. That's down there around $10.25 or so. To the upside, you can see it's trading at 12.20 in after hours trading. That's where it closed at tonight. And so that's going to put it up here with this all-time high close level and the all-time high. And so basically you want to see it break above this 12.67 level, the 12.70 to 13 level. Busting out above 13 would be really bullish for Cronus Group. Okay, now if it dropped down below 12 and started and failed to stay above that level, that's where it could possibly consolidate, possibly work its way back to EMA4 at 1060. As long as that level's holding, the bulls are in clear control. Look at the big volume. Huge volume behind this move. I mean, it just dwarfs the volume from before. Big money has clearly entered, and yeah, we'll see where they want to take this. Okay, let's look at TLRY here. So TLRY has been on a tear. All right, RSI now is at 85.57, so it is pushing very lofty levels here. This is the all-time high close on RSI. It tends to take a breather when it makes these peaks, as you can see. The last two times that it had this peak at this level, a little pullback happened. That's where you had the red candle here and the red candle here. That's when you had RSI at these levels. You have Fasto at 98. You have Plestia is actually breaking out back above above 80x. The bulls are clearly in control. There's a lot of air on the chart. These annotations were from when this gap down here filled. Since then, there's been 1, 2, and 3 more gaps on the chart. So all that air, what it does, it sets up the potential for those gaps to fill in the future. A drop down here to just below 45 would fill all 3 gaps. Just something to keep in mind. You know, it gets really hard to be super bullish on a marijuana stock. I mean, I know it's trading at $77, but it is a marijuana sector stock, and marijuana sector stocks have always filled gaps. There has never been a marijuana sector stock that I personally know of that hasn't filled a gap, so that's just something to keep in mind. We're not talking about Apple or Amazon here. We're talking about marijuana companies, and so far in the complete history of the marijuana sector, they all fill gaps when they form gaps. And so having these 3 unfilled gaps is a major red flag if you're a long-term investor. Now, if you're a trader and you're playing momentum and it's pushing higher, yeah, it's party time. We're looking at 78.41 right now. You know, they're pressing hard. People are, you know, we got a short squeeze going. You know, you got to stay with the momentum. But at some point, the party's going to be, you know, take a breather, and it's going to come down and likely fill some of these gaps. And you could see that 44 to 45 level, you know, tested. You know, that's the reality of it. So just for long-term people, you know, I mean, you never know. It could keep going, and it could be full of baloney, and it never fills. But just from personal, you know, just from analyzing the marijuana sector, it's just something to keep in mind. And so right now, EMA4 support is holding. As you can see, all the candles are forming above that pink line. Once it finally closes below that level at 66.52, that's where you can see it start to consolidate. Notice big volume behind the move. Okay, let's look at ACBFF, Aurora Cannabis. So yeah, so keep an eye on Aurora Cannabis. This is, you know, one of the top marijuana companies in the world. It hasn't been getting all the press. You know, they had some dilution problems. You can see the big drop there. But big volume has re-entered the trade. What we're looking at here is the 200-day simple moving average at 703. Above 7, that's going to signal upside potential, and you can see it run back up to $8 to test this high close. If it dropped below 660 EMA 8, that's going to be a red flag. It can consolidate and come down and test $6. Okay, if we look here at APHQF, we can see here it's been on a tear as well. It's been filling the jar. It's working its way back up to this 1850 level. This is another one of the top companies. This is Afria. It is very frothy here at 78 on our side, 99 in Fasto. You've got Plus DI is hitting these levels where it's topped out at the past, or at least taking a breather. And so basically you can see giant volume has come into the move here. It busted out above all the moving averages. As long as the EMA4 at 13 basically is holding, the signal is to keep riding. There is an unfilled gap way down here around $9, so keep that in mind. To the upside, you want to see a break above 1450. You've got this 1650 zone, and then the ultimate level would be up here around 1850, the high close from back in January. You know, it looks like it's trying to work its way back to that level. Okay, take a look at MMNFF. This is MedMen, another big a big player in the cannabis industry. It just started trading back here in May, and yeah, it closed right at the all-time high level here of $5, just below $5 there. What was the high today? $5. That's the all-time high. And so going forward, trading above $5 is going to signal upside potential. If it fails to break that $5 level, you could see it pull back down here and test EMA4 at 439. What you want to see is it stay above this June high close level at just what looks like 429. It needs to stay above that level, stay 430 and above, and that'll signal more upside. If it were to drop below that 430 level, that would signal some consolidation. Okay, take a look at Kush Bottles. They changed their name to Kush Company Holdings. Now they did change their business model, and now they're branching out from just making the containers and the packages that you put the various cannabis products in to branching out. I believe in the headlines I read, CBDs, all sorts of different aspects of the marijuana industry they're going to be getting into, and so that's going to expand possibly their profits and their bottom line, and investors are liking the news and they're taking this thing higher. Yeah, it has a nice uptrend going. It's filling the jar as well. It's working its way back up to the 650 to 680 resistance zone. Yeah, there's a gap over here, and so it busted above the bottom of the gap level. That's this first red line. It needs to stay above that level and then stay above this 570 level. Basically, 550 to 570 needs to stay above both, and then it could work its way back up to this 650 level. That's the top of the gap. And so that is the target if it can stay above 570. Okay, let's look at TGODF here. So the Green Organic Dutchman Holdings. This is another big player. Yeah, keep an eye on this company. These guys are rocking it out, up 24%. Yeah, this is another big-time player in the marijuana industry. Look at that huge volume spike. Take this company for seriously. Yeah, this has got upside potential here. Yeah, it could run up here into this $6 range. That looks like where it's headed. And now what you want to see is that's the all-time high close. You want to see a close above that level. If it closes above that level, it should run up here to the 760 all-time high. Okay, that volume is very telling. It closed right at high of day. That's a very, very bullish move for TGODF. Okay, take a look at OGRMF. They've been touted by Motley Fool as the next big cannabis takeover target. Okay, so keep an eye on this. These guys are a major player as well. Look at the huge volume. People have been loading up. It's right in EMA4 and it's hooking right here. It looks like this is, you know, it's got this flag kind of. This ascending, this triangle kind of pattern here. It's gonna either pop or drop right here. And so what has to happen is it's got to make a new high close. Stocks have to keep making new high closes to keep heading higher. And so it's got to close above the closing price here on the 29th. If it can do that, that's going to be a signal it's going to head higher. So above this 411, that signals upside potential. Now if it dropped below $5 and dropped below EMA4 there, that's going to signal downside risk. It's at a flex point right now. One of these two levels is going to break, either resistance or support. So keep an eye on OGRMF. It could explode higher if the whole marijuana industry keeps pushing. Okay, let's look at SPRWF, Supreme Cannabis. Okay, this had a nice move and then it pulled back. And so, you know, if you missed this one, this might be your opportunity here. As long as it holds EMA4 at 156, the chart's super strong. If that were to break, you could see it pull back down here and test that 200-day simple moving average. It needs to stay above that level at 143. It looks like it filled the gaps here on these lower wicks. So this is a clean looking chart here, clean looking breakout. It's always better if you have a breakout and then there's no unfilled gaps. That leaves it so there's no targets for the market makers later on. And so that it's a better chart if there's no unfilled gaps. And so what you want to see now is a break above the high close horizontal resistance level, basically above 175. If it can get a close above 175, that would be really bullish. Once again, it's always about the volume. Look at the volume that came in. You know, the volume is very telling. You know, also they use these runs to dilute, but it seems like big player, big money is entering across the sector. We haven't been talking a lot about the United States marijuana companies, but here's one to keep an eye on. We do cover them, and I am following those on a daily basis. But yeah, we've been really focused on the Canadian sector. But Rocky Mountain High Brands caught my eye today. Yeah, keep an eye on this one. It had this big volume spike. 30 million in volume, the largest volume day since back here in March. It closed above the 100-day simple moving average at 0.117. If it can stay above that level, that'd be bullish. What you want to see is a break above 0.13. If it can close above this red line, the 200-day simple moving average, that should be the signal that it wants to head higher. Okay, thanks a lot for checking out this video. The marijuana sector's on fire. I hope everybody's doing really good out there. Thank you.